Clarence Thomas is an American jurist who serves as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. He was nominated by President George H. W. Bush to succeed Thurgood Marshall and has served since 1991. After Marshall, Thomas is the second African American to serve on the court and its longest-serving member since Anthony Kennedy's retirement in 2018. Thomas was born in Pinpoint, Georgia. After his father abandoned the family, he was raised by his grandfather in a poor Gullah community near Savannah. Growing up as a devout Catholic, Thomas originally intended to be a priest in the Catholic Church but was frustrated over the Church's insufficient attempts to combat racism. He abandoned his aspiration of becoming a clergyman to attend the College of the Holy Cross and, later, Yale Law School, where he was influenced by a number of conservative authors, notably Thomas Sowell, who dramatically shifted his worldview from progressive to conservative. Upon graduating, he was appointed as an assistant attorney general in Missouri and later entered private practice there. He became a legislative assistant to Senator John Danforth in 1979, and was made Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights at the U.S. Department of Education in 1981. President Ronald Reagan appointed Thomas as chairman of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission the next year. President George H. W. Bush nominated Thomas to the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit in 1990. He served in that role for 19 months before filling Marshall's seat on the Supreme Court. Thomas's confirmation hearings were bitter and intensely fought, centering on an accusation that he had sexually harassed Anita Hill, a subordinate at the Department of Education and the EEOC. Hill alleged that Thomas made multiple sexual and romantic overtures to her despite her repeatedly telling him to stop. Thomas and his supporters denied the allegation, asserting that Hill and her political supporters had fabricated the accusation to prevent the appointment of a black conservative to the court. The Senate confirmed Thomas by a vote of 52-48, the narrowest margin in a century. Since the death of Antonin Scalia, Thomas has been the court's foremost originalist, stressing the original meaning in interpreting the Constitution. In contrast to Scalia, who had been the only other staunch originalist, he pursues a more classically liberal variety of originalism. Until 2020, Thomas was known for his silence during most oral arguments. He has since begun asking more questions to counsel. Thomas is notable for his majority opinions in Good News Club v. Milford Central School and New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, Inc. v. Bruin, as well as his dissent in Gonzales v. Reich. He is widely considered the court's most conservative member. History. The house was built between 1825 and 1827 to a design by John Nash. It was commissioned by the Duke of Clarence, who in 1830 became King William IV of the United Kingdom. He lived there in preference to the adjacent St. James's Palace, an antiquated Tudor building which he found too cramped. From William IV, the house passed to his sister Princess Augusta Sophia, and, following her death in 1840, to Queen Victoria's mother, Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. In 1866 it became the home of Queen Victoria's second son Alfred, Duke of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, until his death in 1900. Alfred's younger brother Prince Arthur, Duke of Connaught and Strathern, Queen Victoria's third son, used the house from 1900 until his death in 1942. During his tenure, for a brief period in the 1930s, it was the location of the library of the School of Oriental and African Studies, until all universities in London were evacuated in 1939 and the school temporarily relocated to Cambridge. During World War II, Clarence House suffered damage by enemy bombing during the Blitz. Following the death of the Duke of Connaught in 1942, it was used by the Red Cross and the St. John Ambulance Brigade as their headquarters during the rest of World War II. Following their marriage in 1947, it became the residence of Princess Elizabeth and her husband, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Their daughter, Princess Anne, was born there in August 1950. In 1953, after the death of her father King George VI, Princess Elizabeth acceded to the throne as Queen Elizabeth II and moved to Buckingham Palace. Her mother, Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother, and sister Princess Margaret moved into Clarence House. Also at the start of her widowhood, the Queen Mother purchased the Castle of May in Scotland as a summer residence. Princess Margaret later moved into an apartment in Kensington Palace following her marriage in 1960, whilst the Queen Mother remained at Clarence House and at the Castle of May, until her death in March 2002. Currently, Clarence House is the London residence of King Charles III and his wife, Queen Camilla. The King and Queen Consort will continue to utilise Clarence House as their London home until at least 2027, while renovations to Buckingham Palace are ongoing. Buckingham Palace will remain the administrative headquarters for the monarchy and location of state events during this time.